Everyone in the town of Grey Hollow knew the rule: never enter the silent forest. It wasn't just folklore passed around campfires. It was a rule grounded in fear and experience. The forest had a reputation that stretched back generations. Animals avoided it. Birds flew around it. Even the wind seemed to die before it reached the tree line. And anyone who entered was never seen again. Except once. One man came back. He had no tongue, no eyes. He screamed without a sound until the day he died. After that, no one dared step foot inside again. But Lira was different. She was 17, quiet, and drawn to the unknown. While the rest of the town feared the forest, Lira was obsessed with it. Not because she wanted to rebel, but because, for as long as she could remember, she had heard something coming from within it. A sound no one else could hear. Soft, repetitive, almost like a melody. It came to her when everything else was quiet. At first, she thought it was in her head, but it never stopped. Then she found the map. It was tucked away in a damaged book at the town's old library, hidden between brittle pages. The paper was yellowed, the ink faded. It looked like it had been hand-drawn by a child, with strange symbols and twisted landmarks. The crooked tree, the hollowed well, the dead silence line. One symbol, in particular, disturbed her. A circle with a slash through it, lined with tiny pointed shapes that looked too much like teeth. Scrawled next to it were the words, "Only the chosen may bring back the song." The next morning, she packed a flashlight, a small audio recorder, the map, and crossed the border into the silent forest. It happened the instant she stepped inside. Sound disappeared. Her footsteps made no noise. The wind vanished. The normal background buzz of life, the birds, the trees, even her own breathing, was gone. It was like stepping into a vacuum. The flashlight worked, but the recorder gave nothing but static. She knew she should have turned back. But the melody was louder now. It wasn't coming from the distance anymore. It was right there, in her head, guiding her deeper into the forest like a siren's call. She followed it for hours, or maybe minutes. Time didn't feel right in the forest. Landmarks appeared and vanished. Paths seemed to rearrange themselves. Eventually, she came across something unexpected. Half buried in a bed of moss was a flute. It wasn't made of wood or metal. It looked like bone. Smooth. Cold. Far too pristine for something lying in the dirt. The second her fingers wrapped around it, the silence cracked. It wasn't loud, but it wasn't quiet anymore either. A voice slid into her mind, low and distant, whispering a single word. Play. She brought the flute to her lips and played a single note. That's when the forest reacted. The trees groaned, though there was no wind. The ground trembled slightly. Shapes flickered in her peripheral vision, just beyond focus. And then on the dirt in front of her, footprints began to appear. Bare, human, leading further into the woods. She followed them. They brought her to the burned-out remains of what used to be a cabin. Charred wood, ashes, and shattered glass littered the area. The air here felt thicker. Wrong. That's where she saw it. A figure, thin, pale, standing perfectly still at the edge of the ruin. It didn't move, didn't blink. Its eyes were entirely black, and its mouth hung open, far too wide. No sound came from it, but her head filled with the same melody from a forest. Only this time it was screaming. She ran. But the forest wasn't the same anymore. The trees had shifted. Every path led back to the same place. The clearing, the flute, the figure. And still, the voice in her head whispered, "Play." So she did. Every note she played revealed more. The melody pulled memories from the soil. Faces stretched out from the bark of trees. Some were crying. Some were silently screaming. She saw them. The people who'd entered before her. Trapped, changed, digested into the song. Eventually, she reached a new place. A clearing filled with tall, cracked mirrors. Each mirror showed a version of herself. Older, younger, twisted, dead. In one of them, her reflection smiled back at her. Then it moved on its own. It leaned in, pressed its lips to the glass, and whispered something she couldn't hear. The flute pulsed in her hand. Her reflection nodded. Without thinking, she raised the flute again, played the same melody. The mirror shattered, and that reflection, whatever it was, stepped out. She wasn't in the forest anymore. She was inside something else, something deeper. The trees were gone, replaced by walls of pulsating roots, fleshy and alive. There were eyes in the wood, mouth stitched shut. The smell of rot and damp earth surrounded her. The voice returned, not in her head this time. It echoed from all around her. We are the song. You are the final note. That's when she understood. The melody was never a call for help. It was a ritual, a summoning. Every note she played had been feeding something ancient, something buried beneath Grey Hollow. And now it was awake. It wasn't trying to break free. It already had, and it had used her to do it. 2 years have passed since Lira disappeared. The town says she ran away, that she couldn't handle her past. But some nights, if you walk near the edge of the forest, you can hear something. Not loud, not clear, just a faint, haunting melody drifting on the breeze. And if you stop to listen long enough, you'll hear the second verse begin, and then the third. And by the time the fourth starts, it's already too late.